Florida, Congressman Cory Mills, former Army sniper, and Aaron Cohen, Israeli special ops veteran and security expert. Aaron Cohen, tell me what I missed. To me, look, it was a personal success that this Secret Service agent saw that barrel of the gun. I guess it was a short barrel at that. But nonetheless, where was all the perimeter coverage? Where was the multi-layer coverage? And what about the toxicity, as I'm calling it? What do you think?
Larry, your monologue, you nailed it. Multi-layered security is what Joe Biden has. It's what Donald Trump doesn't have. The reason why Biden has it and every sitting president has it, so it would take a multi-layer event for one of these wackadoodles to be able to fire a shot. The fact is that there was not full perimeter protection, which is the fourth or fifth layer in that security bubble. And the reason why is because Trump has a scaled down version. Trump should have more security than Biden, Larry. And the reason why is because of what you just said. The rhetoric and vitriol being perpetuated by the left and then shot out by the through that smut system of the left media is what's caused this divisiveness. The same tactic Hamas uses. It creates extremism. And Secret Service only sent one or two agents one hole ahead of Trump, and they were lucky that they spotted that guy. But had there been several hundred, Larry, this is the United States of America. We can't protect one man. Had there been hundreds of agents securing that perimeter, which is the first major layer, he would have never been able to put that barrel through that fence line, just like that other shooter did back in Butler to get up on that building, and those shots never would have been fired. By the way, the shots that were fired by the Secret Service, from what I understand. Shots weren't actually fired at Trump, but the fact that they had to fire shots meant that that shooter, Ruth, got that close to the president. It's unacceptable. I won't have it. And the fact that that Ronald Rowe, who's in charge? You asked who's in charge.
All right, I got to get Cory.
Ronald Rowe was in charge.
I got to get Cory.
Ronald Rowe was in charge. He is responsible for this debacle.
Well, okay. Now,
he's gone next.
We're going to talk about all this. Cory Mills, want to get you in here. Cory, I'm no expert. You are an expert. Aaron is an expert. But the thing is, there should have been an outer perimeter coverage, shouldn't there? I mean, you can cover the golf course, and they could have agents two golf holes ahead of where Mr. Trump was actually playing. But what about outside the golf course? Why wasn't that covered? And the other part is the atmosphere of toxicity. I mean, look, I know this is a presidential campaign, but this has been going on for years. Calling Trump all kinds of names, left and right. You know, I could have mentioned in my riff, we talked about these other things, calling him a dictator, calling him Hitler, the weaponization of him, calling him a lawbreaker. We heard some of that even in the last debate. Cory, I don't understand. What exactly is President Biden waiting for to give Mr. Trump at least full coverage, full protection? What's he waiting for?
Well, Larry, one quick correction. I was with the 82nd Airborne Division and Army combat veteran, but I was actually a counter sniper with the State Department. And so I know about overwatch, close protection, and expanding out your perimeter and bubble. Look, this is two incidents where they've maintained too tight of a perimeter and too tight of a bubble to actually mitigate the threats. And the problem with how the Secret Service is being run today is that they're not running upon what your actual threat and risk management analysis is to look at how do you mitigate the threat. They're looking at what is your current title and what are we willing to afford you, not whether or not we're actually willing to keep you safe. That's been the problem since Butler, PA on July 13th. And I can tell you that when you look at the threat level on President Trump, this is the second attempt. When you look at the fact that the rifle that was found, the AK-47 style rifle with a scope, was within 500 yards, that is well within the capability and capacity of that rifle in which the other assailant has possessed. So while I give the Secret Service credit on the fact that they were able to see this individual and mitigate them before anything took place, the bubble and perimeter should have been expanded before it even occurred. And when it comes to the dangerous rhetoric, let us not forget, Larry, that it was President Biden who made the comment that it is time to put Trump in the bullseye. Yes. This is the type of dangerous rhetoric that has led to this type of thing, and we need to start taking a step back and cooling down tensions, because we should be condemning all political violence of any type, regardless of the party party affiliation. And meanwhile, you have people like Hakeem Jeffries who says, I'm glad that the president is safe. And then 2 hours later, the extreme MAGA Republicans. This is the type of thing that continues to ramp things up, and they won't bring it down until we call them out and we actually hold them accountable.
Saul, Aaron Cohen, I keep calling you Saul. Aaron Cohen, what should happen here? In brief, in other words, be as straightforward as possible. What should happen here? Let's put the political rhetoric aside for a moment. We're not going to solve that. What can be solved, however, is the protection that should be afforded a presidential candidate. And I just want to add one little quickie here. Iran wants to kill Mr. Trump. They've said so many times. And Iran has threatened a lot of national security people who are in the Trump administration. Now, all right, Aaron Cohen,
that's right.
What should happen? Minimally, what should happen? Go.
Hats off to Congressman Mills. Him and I are on the same page here. Here's what needs to happen. Trump needs to be afforded the same multi-layered security that President Biden has, with several hundred protective agents surrounding every perimeter, scouting, counter surveillance, the inner bubble. Or if they can't do it, then Trump needs to ramp up and bolster his private security to have the same level of security operatives that the Biden detail would have. And I'm more than willing to help Trump out. And then when he gets in there, I'm more than willing to gut that entire Secret Service, Larry, and squish out all that DEI infected nonsense, because that is the problem. It's the reason why Cheadle's gone, and I believe it's the reason why Ronald Rowe needs to go next. They're basing their threat assessment on the would-bes, could-bes, and maybes based on the old system. It has to be based on actual threat assessment, which is what Congressman Mills pointed out. It's got to be current, and it's got to be realistic. Otherwise, another shooter will get through to Trump.
Cory Mills, though, let me ask you this. Has President Biden commented on the failure to provide complete protection? Has he said why, wherefore? I mean, there's a lot of money that's allocated to the Secret Service. Maybe they need more money, maybe they don't. Right. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe you can help us. But has Mr. Biden, even today, has he actually said we're going to give Mr. Trump full presidential protection? Has he actually said that today?
No, Larry. Not once has he said that. And let's bear in mind, it was President Trump who was actually the one that was requesting additional security for RFK, who had not been provided anything as a presidential nominee. Look, I'm going to go back and say how it is. I think that President Trump does need his own internal security and his own private bubble of former SOF operators, whether it be out of the unit, whether it be out of SIX, or whether it be out of others, because I think that there is a compromised fashion when we can't provide the necessary assets and resources given the congressionally appropriated funds. We need to start looking at how do we keep the president safe before the upcoming elections. As Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent, has said, he doesn't think this is going to be the only attacks. And so I actually think that we need to be looking at the Iranian threat. We need to be looking at what types of foreign adversarial threats. We need to be looking at the mitigation of risk, which is not being done by the Secret Service with regards to the assets and resources being provided. And so I think that we have a bigger problem here that we have to continue to look at. But DEI is at the crux of it. DEI, which stands for didn't earn it, or DEI, which I say equals DIE. 100%. We have to get to the crux of the issues here, which is meritocracy, building up the operators who are actually able to mitigate the threats in time, being able to have a proper intel assessment to be able to try and make sure that we can foresee and forecast the events taking place, and expanding the parameter and the bubble to keep the president safe.
But we got to get out. But Biden still has not. I may be wrong about this factually. Right. He still has not said, even as recently as today, this morning. I mean, he's speaking to some rally someplace in Delaware, I think. He has not said, okay, I'm going to give him full protection. He still hasn't said that. This boggles my mind. I mean, it's like, really?
That's exactly right, Larry, because he's too busy eating ice cream.
Is anybody, well, whatever he's eating, I mean, he's eating something, but I can't say it on air because we're a family show. But you're both very kind. Cory Mills, we appreciate it. Aaron Cohen, thank you ever so much.